days. That's good. That's good to know. All right, so what's the day looking like? The day is looking red. Massively red with a strong bounce taking place. So what does that tell you? Looking for short opportunities, but a nice strong momentum off the last couple of days, bouncing off these pivots and the momentum lines. So we could see a big reversal. We could see anything. We could see anything. It could come down. It might have found the bottom already, or it could keep pressing down. I'm on the short side, obviously, because it's a red day. It's below previous day's level. As long as it stays down here in this area, I'm definitely red. I'm definitely short. Once it gets back over that red line, though, previous day's level, anything can happen. This thing could turn out to be a strong green day. And if that happens, we want to be careful about shorting. Market is open. Here it comes down. Already took one trade today. I'm going to chill out for a second here and let it puke its guts out till I can get a grip on it. We already had one trade today. I was successful, $23. I'll show you that in a minute, but I'm not interested in jumping in the Speedy Gonzalez market right at the moment. Although it looks very tempting to short right here. Very, very good. If everything is in order, that would be a reasonable short. It's a $73 trade. I can't take that. Not on one trade. Unless I want to risk everything that I made and the $50. There goes the entry. That would be an entry right there. That would be the entry right there. Stop loss is up here. I'm just looking at this trade at the moment. Reason why everything's on this side of the moving averages. Everything. Every single chart that I have. Every chart that I have. That's strong short opportunity. So I probably would have broke even on that. Either I take some profits or I break even as fast as possible. Or if I had the guts to hold it, I would have moved my stop to here after it came up and failed. I would have just moved my stop here. These are real trading theories that I practice all the time. I've already made half the money for the day. I'm just not, I guess I'm chicken. Little chicken here to to get in. So I'll play the chicken for a minute and let things kind of settle down for a second. There's a double top right there. Now this would be the stop for a new trade opportunity. Would be short here, stop up here. I don't know if that's much cheaper. Not really. It's about the same risk as the other one. I just slid everything down. Looks like a good breakdown, though. It probably wants to sweep something first. More than likely, you'll get a little head fake. There goes sweeping. There, it would have stopped out. Well, it didn't trigger in. All right, here was the original trigger. Stop was up here originally, so still be in that trade. I'm curious to see, though. Right now, I'm curious to see what's happening with that original trade idea. Because if this fails, that's going to tell me a whole lot. Almost to failure, boy. If I was in that trade, my stop loss would have been right here. We're almost there. Up higher would be a good entry. Same trade idea, but sometimes it's good to wait for it to come all the way up to your stop loss and look for an entry up higher. That reduces the risk. I like that. I like that a lot. I definitely like that idea. 2000 tick chart. Ugh, look at this bar coding. See, I like to get a different perspective on all these different time charts because look at this. You could see this up, down bar coding, and it's been doing that since over here. Just ugly looking swings. So I'm going to avoid this market. See, I would have been stopped out on that trade. We got a little bit. We got about halfway to the first target, and it would have stopped me out for a full loss. So I would have lost my 23 and lost the 50. I'd have been done for this account for the day if I would have took that trade. I'm just even if I see a trend line break right here, I'm not that excited anymore. First of all, it's not all they're not on all the sides of the same side now anymore. When price was underneath the moving averages, down here on this side, it was under. It's over the top here, under, down here, and so it's just changing directions. Okay, so I got to be careful. 5,000 tick chart. Price was under the moving averages right there. Now you see that big pintail that was put in on the 5-minute chart. Price was under the moving averages and reversed on that 5-minute chart. Now everything's above those two momentum lines. So it's in the gray zone. Gray zone means it's a riskier trade. You could still take a short. You could, because technically price is not above all three moving averages, and the moving averages are still in order. Price can violate that and still rotate down. It happens all the time. But I like to combine the 5,000 tick and the 5-minute, and I want these two to agree. I want price to be on the same side of the moving averages on the 5,000 and on the 5-minute. If they're different, then it's a danger zone trading, right? So, and right now, as long as it's in this box, I can't really do nothing. I'm not going to short right here in the middle of the box. And even if it breaks down below, which, you got this strong pintail over here on the 5-minute chart. Well, if it breaks below that, then yeah, that's a little bit different. But if it breaks below that, I'm glad I took my trade early. If I don't have to take a trade, I'm going to get the mentality of real money, the psychology of real money. If I'm using 1 micro and make $23, when I switch to minis, that's a $230 day. I already did that. I would have done that. This is where I'm trying to train my thinking. I'm trying to train my thinking to understand that we need to be making real money here. I need to be buying some food and helping some people and paying some bills. It's not a game. I like this setup. I like the way it's looking here. I like the way it's looking. I just don't like where it's at yet. $2,000 again. Yeah, it's just back down this order block looking area. That's a very tough area. I'm not going to short right there in that area. There's no way. No way. Okay, it's pushed below. It's heading to the red line. Touch the red line. I might be interested in trying something here. Let's see. Yeah, it's got a... I think it wants to go lower. I do. Let's see about this trend line break here, maybe. It's below. It did a pintail. Pintail on the 2,000 tick chart. Looks like it wants to keep going. I got to try this.
Order filled.
Okay, I'm going to give it a try.
Order submitted.
Please keep going.
Order submitted.
Break even. Hurry up. Go down. Break even.
Order filled.
Ah, I broke even too quick. Yeah. Broke even too quick. Broke even too daggone quick.
Order
Boy, that
canceled.
was a good setup, a good trade. I'm glad I'm looking at the right trade setups. I really am. I saw this pin tail over here. Saw that pin tail, drew a trend line on the lower time chart. It got below that construction area there with a pin tail reversal rejection. Beautiful, beautiful. Here's that pin tail rejection, trend line right here. I was thinking, do it, do it, do it. By the time that candle closed, I did it. Stop would have been here. Let's draw it out, see where I'm at. Where's my thinking? Bam, there's the 1-to-1. So as soon as it started turning green and got below that red line, I dropped my stop right there onto that break even. Look at that bad boy. But that's the trade I want to take. That's the trade I have to take. Got a green bar ignored on the, once it breaks, green bar ignored, continuation, beautiful. This is perfect. That was a perfect setup. Now I just need to master my, I need to keep looking for trades like that. That's the only trade I want to take. That's the only trade I want to take. Let's look for these trades. Get good at this trade. Everything is on the same side of the moving averages. You had perfect candle formations at rejection points, perfect on all the time charts. You had a trend line break. You had a green bar ignored. And you had a pivot being broken. It doesn't get any better than that. There's a 2-to-1 return on it already. I probably would have taken just the 1-to-1 on it. Or if I would have stayed in it, I could have brought my stop here. And then after it kept going, and it would have stopped me out right there for half. I would have gotten half. If I don't take the full right away when it gets there, I'll look for a pivot and a continuation and move my stop to the pivot. In this case, it would have came back up to that pivot and stopped me out for only a half. Either I get a whole, or I get a half, or I break even too quick. On these perfect trade setups, that's the three options. The perfect trade setups have a high probability of winning. On a perfect trade setup, it seldom goes straight up and stops you out once you get in. It seldom does that on a perfect, absolutely perfect setup. Wow, look at that. It's 3-to-1 already. I would have moved my stop there. If I could have avoided that somehow, I'd have moved my stop right here. And if it continues, I'd have brought my stop back to this pivot. And why am I not getting in? Oh, because I'm saturated with the idea that I had the perfect setup. I'm already at 3.5-to-1 on it. I would have done really well. These are the kind of trades that can make my month, pay my bills, buy my food. This is it. I don't want to just jump in a trade without just meditating on this and thinking about how I'm going to handle it differently, and really understanding that I don't have to keep taking the trades. I don't need to keep trading. Once I take a trade like this and I stay in it, I'm done for the day, man. I don't need to keep trading, and I don't want to keep trading. I don't want to keep trading. If I get a trade like this, an opportunity where everything's in agreement, and you find the beautiful entry and you're able to manage your stop loss properly, staying in the trade, then I don't need to keep trading once I find a trade like this. Who knows how long it's going to stay going down in that direction. So I'm going to wrap up the video and think about this, and really, really try to grasp and transform to becoming better. All right. Thank God for that. I'll see you guys on the next video.